watching the clock, 10,000 hours go by. I keep putting in work, the tears are filling my eyes. I swear I've never been tested like this, but this is mine. It's not a matter of chance, just a matter of time. Never look back. If something standing in my way, I always push back. If something seemed impossible, I never took that. Nah, cause now I know better. Can't stop, won't stop, I won't quit ever. As far as won't take me, the highest fall, it won't break me. The blood and sweat is what made me, made me. I'ma get mine, just a matter of time.
Welcome back, guys, to the LCK, and we're here with the midway segment once again with Dangun and Bito. This is our second match of the day with KING-ZONE. I was trying to fight against SKT, and we thought it could have been a close one, but in the end it became a difference in the team fight abilities, and that led to the result at the end. We were really looking at two teams going back and forth with their fighting prowess and trying to decide which of them were the better fighters out in the end. I think the Jace was definitely the big investment that SKT was trying to close out. I think that was the key direction that they had to take in order to win their game, but with their investment came along with risk as well, because a heavy investment into one sector of the game meant that the other sectors were going to be very much exposed, and we saw SK Telecom struggling in multiple aspects, and from that game one, and we'll see multiple examples of how SK Telecom could not close out that game one, and KING-ZONE winning out in the end. It's really also emphasizing the vision advantage that KING-ZONE always prioritized with the moving support, also the roaming support that also allowed Cuz from the Rakan to perhaps do that part as well. We're going to look at some of the replays here. This was them saving up all the skills until the very end. Look at Khan, just not even using any of the skills just to knock Tall back, and all he had was in mind was just to survive out of this one alive, and get out of this one was the objective. We also saw once again just using the potion as well. You saw that already in the mix with the green sparkles just going back and forth, meant that Khan's willingness to survive was second to none in this instance. And that was kind of due to SKT's little mistakes of miscalculating, thinking that Khan was surely going to go down, and until after he left and decided to come back later, it was a little too late to finish off the Jace, and that's what really happened with just one instance that led to a big difference, because if Khan had died there, the game could have looked a lot different, but now we knew that that one death should have done the SKT a little bit better if I had finished it off in time. And this was right here, in this other example where Khan was just holding off top lane. We also saw the mid lane and the Rakan jumping up to the top lane. We get to see it in the video as well. This was right here where Khan was seemingly aggressive and Blank came out of nowhere, even with the TP coming in. And we're just looking towards the fact that just trying not to get stunned up as much as we can, and buying a lot of time. We actually saw Prey and also the Rakan coming in, and I actually thought that it was looking really good for the side of KING-ZONE, but a double kill led in the end, so that was a lot of kills that could have been avoided by KING-ZONE. A little late on the movements there. We actually saw SKT with examples like that trying to pull this game right back in their favor and trying to have a win condition they can work with so they could pull out the game one, but in the end it didn't come out, and we were also looking at Blitzcrank as well, as talking about Gorilla doing well for his part, getting the key grabs, and we get to see what the fans were actually reacting to that game, and Blitzcrank was catching a lot of people's attention, and really just Gorilla giving that hook champions once again, and just shows us that, you know, he's definitely still up there, and whenever he picks any type of hook champion, it should get us excited, and the fans were quite excited for it, and we were just kind of reminiscent of Mad Life here as well to see from one of the comments, and it just goes to show Gorilla still has his game, and due to his contribution, he was actually winning out that one. And that was Gorilla just emphasizing once again that this is going to be a goal man, which is a phrase usually used for Mad Life, but this time it's going to be used for Gorilla, and I'm sure he is no short of that accomplishment. Sending back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel. We're going to check out the MVP, and of course it's going to be Gorilla.
Happy anniversary, baby. We got you an MVP.
Oh, well, that's the best present he could have hoped for. 2-1-13 as well, 15 KDA. He can do the math.
And you know what? He got some presents in the game from SKT. How festive. Effort gave him a nice present at level 1.
There it is.
Look at that. Thanks for the kill.
Thanks for the memories, Effort, as he's going to head to the death chamber after that one. But him and BDD, look, once again, it was just beautiful coordination when these guys, yes, they play together in the late game team fights, but not so much when it comes to this laning phases.
He hooked him out of the cube.
Exactly.
Not unstoppable, by the way.
Nope. So, we learned that one, didn't we?
Yep.
And we also know that Blank, not exactly unstoppable himself. There were certainly some moments in this game. A banana kill, in fact, coming in from Bang there.
But it was a hook city. We don't get to see a lot of Blitzcrank. We saw Ignar just try to roam and not get anything going. Things were happening with Desire Rakan Flex, with the good old Blitzcrank and Morgana versus Soraka and Tom Kench. Maybe for the only time ever. We may never see that duo lane face each other. That's the one that had to be flashed away. That meant that Tom Kench wasn't giving Darius any help. Darius went down, and so did the barren hopes for the side of SKT, cuz felt like he definitely developed his eye for the Rakan engage as the game went on. A bit of a shorter time frame than some other people have.
Yeah.
As we watched here, the hooks all hit when they needed to, and this was the bonus.
Just the dream,
bonanza.
really.
When you want one and you get two, you know? Gorilla's not a greedy man, but sometimes you get spoiled.
Yep, and look, now is the time where he can be greedy. 5th anniversary, Gorilla picks up the MVP, he gets all of the hooks, he plays in one of my favorite games that I've ever seen. Absolutely amazing, and it doesn't look like SKT are going to change anything. Moving into game number 2, we're going to run back both of these lineups. Cuz stays in the roster, we're not going to move in Wolf or anything like that. Didn't even see any of the other players from SKT backstage, so not sure whether they're here. It's likely that they probably are, and I just didn't see them, but interesting. See exactly what happens in game number 2.
I've seen them all over the course of the season. Only Untara has not been spotted. I don't know what that means, but I always try to keep my intrepid reporter hat on and see who's here.
Yeah, exactly.
Peanuts in the back. As we focus on this game, Cuz still in the lineup like you mentioned. The Nocturne, well, we saw it left open once, and Griffin lived to regret that. Otherwise, on 8-12, it's been permanently banned.
Well, Sejuani's going to be the adaptation ban here from KING-ZONE on the red side, so denying that one away from Blank certainly has been his most successful champion, even though it's only a 50% win rate now, as Aatrox once again going to hit the bench. It was a blue side ban last time around for KING-ZONE.
Must feel pretty good for KING-ZONE to see SKT, the team that has flexed Aatrox, have to ban it. Ban comes through. Hans J stays undefeated for the 2018 season, as the Morgana, I think, will become more and more commonly that ban. You just see that the support pool when you have a carry Morgana is literally playmakers only, because it's all about packing up, leaving Morgana home, and going for some big plays.
Yeah, I just feel like one of the must bans is certainly that Morgana. Nocturne does feel like the other one as well, but it was banned on the blue side. Zoe going to be taken away from BDD.
See what's left after all of this. Game 1 draft was weird and wonderful. As we know, the Yasuo was banned by KING-ZONE.
Yeah.
In game number 1.
Aurelia as well, still left available.
Okay, so both
Talia
of them
going to be banned.
Yeah, Talia cannot be left open. SKT have already shown it in a multitude of roles. Faker has even taken a bot lane. seems like they're going to be happy with the Swain, who honestly was the furthest from a problem in game number 1.
Oh, hell yeah.
Good performance from FLICKR there.
In the mid-game, I think he was about 3-0-6, having a brilliant game.
Do you first round Alistair is kind of my question, because I think SKT would definitely consider putting Bang onto the Swain, given that he's playing basically everything at the moment.
Do you get scared of a potential Tariq E composition with the flexibility of the Swain on the map?
It's worth thinking about, and KING-ZONE were the first to visit the Zyra Khan flex, and neither is bad, so we could see Blank and FLICKR lock that in. On the blue side, Camille, a very strong champion against any of the funnels. We saw KT win against the funnel comp with Score, just ulting the Kai'Sa at every opportunity.
Yeah. And with no Morgana there, it does feel like against these funnel cops it feels a bit better, but Shen is going to be locked away. Could be Khans, could be Gorillas.
The mind game is so real when you're on the red side and you can't just ban every funnel. It's a lot of, does this get beaten by funnel or not? And you kind of have to draft accordingly. As KING-ZONE to be respectful. Effort, we've seen as a playmaker really pop off. His Tahm Kench left a lot to be desired, but will be locked in again in game number 2.
Well, we'll see whether another Blitzcrank comes out and we give Khan the Shen on the top side. FLICKR now to pick the final one for this first round for SKT.
Do you consider Galio in this situation? I guess with Swain, no, but
Ezreal, another possibility here, unless you want to keep the Swain flex
Ezreal Tahm,
available.
the Gen G special, but I was thinking about the Galio. It'd be so good on KING-ZONE's side. They will take it and say, Galio, it's not going to be a support like we've seen from MVP. We have a Tahm Kench, so that's almost certainly going to be in the support role.
Yep.
The Swain bot lane is seeming likely, but Swain and Tahm Kench, not quite the same synergy as some other duos. Seems like BDD might be going to an old favorite, but he can't build the Banner of Command, so maybe he'll move away from the Vel'Koz. It's going to be the Anivia. You see Swain, you know the power of the wall. There's going to be a lot of these melee champions. Splitting them in half and focusing on one is a good way to go.
And look, SKT's comp is fantastic if you're going to be brawling in on top of each other. Hero's entrance as well as the Demon Flare availability from the ultimate out of the Swain just means that everyone on top of each other, lots of damage for SKT. What does BDD want to do? He wants to have a lot of damage in an area himself. Also able to wall people off.
You see the enemy lineup and you say, surely it has to be Swain or Galio, right, if you're BDD. This first round Anivia is usually pretty risky. Anivia ends up being a 5th round last pick on red side. We've seen flexes, but if they find a way to pull out an Anivia counter after already taking Swain and Galio, that would be very creative by the side of SKT.
Well, after game 1, I'm not doubting anything.
We definitely have eaten our words many times, so we just don't make strong statements
I feel like
anymore.
we ate our words in the last draft, like once every round of picks was locked in.
I'm pretty full when it comes to cheese, and yet I'm ready for more Atlas at 8-12. I believe it's the first game of Anivia for BDD, so cool to see him on a new pick. Never really been meta in his time as a pro player. The Jace already banned by SKT. They don't want Jace wailing away on what looks like a top lane Swain, and apparently they believe that KING-ZONE has also been watching EULCS and Hanwha Life.
Yep.
They ban away the Donga.
Yep, the Donga gave it a go. Sangyun tried his best when we saw him give it a go, but Prey going to go onto a champion that both him and Bang are very, very, very familiar with, the Ezreal.
Two people really good at keeping range now, the Ezreal and the Anivia. I don't want to get into the potential party going on with the Galio. All right, SKT, reveal yourself, as SpoTV might say. What we doing? So far, they would really like to fight in close quarters, and Darius also opts in heavily to the Anivia fun.
Yep.
So far, Anivia's looking like the god pick.
Yep, and it's already locked in. Papa. It feels like we have already been through a bit of a swap, and this was the key last pick, but no.
Can they find a Yasuo somewhere?
Where do you put it?
That's a good question.
Well,
never been a problem before.
Yeah, but if there was a, you know...
We need a jungler. That's what we need. We need to find a jungler. It's a jungler that hard commits. They really need to find a way to get a conduit.
Good God. This is the most melee. Well, we did have the Griffin versus KT series.
Remember, our #1 DPM champion because of this meta is Anivia, because everyone chilled on Kuro's ultimate for the better part of 400 years. Yeah. Speaking of living for 400 years, we might see a top lane Mundo coming out. All right, Mundo versus the Swain. Could be the top lane matchup. The Darius more likely. Darius is the lane counter to the Mundo, but Mundo can also play respectful respectfully, seems like top lane is going to be very respectful stuff from Khan. And BDD definitely primed for success on the Anivia.
Yeah, the Anivia does feel like the perfect pick, but we saw KT do fantastic things with the Tahm Kench Swain bottom lane. And now, how will Bang and Effort fare in the same position?
Surely SKT is packing up and diving Khan at every opportunity. That's the only way that this really works when you think about it. Bot lane is a different one. Not a lot of synergy for the Swain passive here. Kind of has to be his own passive usage created with the Never move. We don't end up seeing anything creative in terms of swaps. If BDD can keep range, the wall should be insanely valuable in this game. Gorilla's got a playmaker. It's not quite the Morgana Blitzcrank lane, but the Shen can pack up and leave.
Yep. The thing I really love about this is that it's KING-ZONE with this finesse composition that has to keep range, stay away from the engage potential, and SKT have got the classic pile-up composition. I know you really like wrestling, Papa Smithy. I feel like this is definitely the stacks-on comp coming in from SKT. I like it. You know, if you struggled in the sort of macro game and making the right decisions in game one, well, just throw yourself at your opponent.
SKT, look, they're initiating, that's for sure. They're going to try and make it work. It's going to be truly a slobber knocker. Another shout out to our wrestling fans out there. Anivia, no skin. The Galio, no skin. The BDD versus FLICKR rivalry that recently has been BDD favored will continue in this particular series. The self-counterpick of the Mundo, though, something SKT can look to exploit.
Yeah, we'll see whether Khan can actually weather the storm on the top side of the map or whether it's going to be all about SKT jumping in on top. Let's get into game number 2. Oof. Always out in force, but this is a pretty good ward. That's getting a lot of value.
Most fans we've had in this stadium in a long while. We are completely sold out for many of our games, but when it comes to everyone needing to take their seat and watch the series, we've definitely got a big one here. Two biggest fan bases, SK Telecom T1 and KING-ZONE DragonX. Saw some KING-ZONE fans not happy to see their prized Peanut, who will not be playing in this series if we do end at game number 2. Most of them are here to see Gorilla. Already picked up the MVP after game number 1. That's a really good FLICKR.
That is really cute. There's a lot of competition when it comes to the artwork so far today. Seen some amazing stuff.
I would, you could just freeze grab that comment, audio grab it, I guess, and talk about how much action there's been on the rift as well.
Shen really turned around his season. Nice work, Shen.
3-11 to 11-11.
Thanks, Lahens.
True. A lot of bans for the Shen as well in recent memory.
Yep. Last 2 games. In fact, every time in the last week, or on this patch, that Shen was available, they've won with it. Banned, they've lost. So, I don't know what that tells us. Probably nothing, because I'm really good at stats that mean nothing, Papa.
Shen is a really happy thing for the Camille. The Camille Nocturne both love the Shen because you want to focus on damage, and that extra CC ability and shield is usually pretty useful that the Shen ultimate usually represents. So far, the Scuttles are being traded. 2 very strong jungle picks. We usually see the Sejuani farm till level 6, but Sejuani was banned this time. No one's farming, both of them. Very high gank pressure between Cuz and Blank this time around.
And I like what SKT did, making sure that they had Blank on someone with early pressure, because I just feel like if this composition gets to a point where they've fallen behind, KING-ZONE runs over the top, right? Like,
I think you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't with Blank especially, because usually we've seen him actually take level 6 junglers and pass smartly and make a play or farm. Usually when you go as deep as a Xin Zhao, he hasn't been in pro play able to find the advantages when you need to, get an advantage pre-6, so that's kind of the risk. In solo queue, he certainly has had some great passes of play. You remember back to 2016 summer when he was the closer with his amazingly Sin win rate.
Yeah.
It was a different time, but when it comes to pro play, in recent memory, not working out.
Cuz now does have his hookshot on cooldown, and Blank playing very aggressively. Moving up here towards the top side. Audacious Charge will be off cooldown relatively soon, as Khan really not looking forward to getting dove, but that's level 4 available for Tal as he gets himself behind this turret. This is a difficult dive as the teleport is going to deter them. It's going to be cancelled.
That's actually a good cancel. We talked about bad cancels. It allowed Cuz enough time to be there. And now Cuz is here, but he's not full health.
Yep, well, really good use of the cleaver on the right target as Tal can't catch up, but he does flash. Apprehend comes in, that's first blood. He's going to get it with exactly the right part of his axe. And Tal, this is the better start.
Oh, the TP cancel was good. FLICKR really wanted this kill. They double down on picking it up, and when he teleports in, there's no escape possible. They're looking for a secondary kill, proxying the wave. How much can Camille really help with this?
Well, Khan's not even going to cancel. I thought he was going to, as the taunt is going to come in. The hook shot's good, though, but massive damage under this turret. FLICKR tanking this one up. I don't know whether they're going to be able to do this without sacrifice. Oh, my God, the minions. As Tal picks up the kill, BDD slowly flapping his way up here. But this ain't a bird of prey, this is a bird of farm.
Super outroamed, and then the decision to complete the teleport was probably a poor one, you'd have to say, from Cuz. And Khan, as a duo, they have to be talked about together because that would have been the communication happening from KING-ZONE. We knew this would happen. It was exactly set up. When you pick Mundo into Xin Zhao, Darius, and Galio, the top lane dive is going to come early. We couldn't know 2 kills pre-4 minutes. But the pace definitely suits SKT.
That's a 3-0 Darius. His prey's going to get eaten. That's a very aggressive devour, but it's a good flash, a sneaky one to get him out the wrong side. He's going to have to go on the mad dash to escape this one, as Bang not taking too much damage. He ain't deterred, as Prey does find the arcane shift.
Galio's going to kill.
Yeah, well, FLICKR, he turns up and... hello, wins the war, that's going to do it. Okay, FLICKR picks it up. It was comical, but they do get it in the end.
Seeing Cuz try to close in, there's a lot of SKT people here.
Yeah, hookshot's going to land. Good layering of CC there as Blank may actually fall down here. Oh no, the Devour comes in. Oh no, never mind. He ate nothing. It's just the corpse of Blank as Cuz trying to run away, but I've seen this one before. Vision of Empire comes down. Good stun from FLICKR as hookshot comes in. They're going to trade places. Gorilla comes back down, but I just feel like there's been too much work done already by SKT.
It's apparently not the champions, it's the players that lead to the bloodbaths we've been seeing in this series so far. I definitely take your point with the first round buy from Darius, the classic Merc Treads executioners at 4 minutes.
Yeah.
He just dumpsters Khan.
Well, that's dead Khan.
Yep.
Under the turret.
You know? There's nothing you can do, apart from maybe not have teleported so optimistically earlier. This gets completely creamed.
Well, Cuz comes up and says he'll try his hand now that the ultimate is on cooldown. It's not feeling like a great time for anyone who's a KING-ZONE fan.
And Khan went full Dade on this one. Dade, the former mid laner of Samsung Ozone and Samsung Blue, who was known to self-counterpick in the mid lane, Twisted Fate into hard matchups.
He did only have about 3 of an effective champion pool.
Yes, and he was good at those picks, but man, would he be liberal in self-counterpicking.
Oh, yeah.
The Mundo against this comp, and just the lane is hard, this comp is death for Mundo pre-multiple items, and, you know, with this sort of a start, who's to say he's going to get them?
I don't know whether he's going to get another Ruby Crystal, Papa. Like, Mundo is having the worst possible time. 58 CS to 19. I mean, we need a better word than anemic.
The other problem to me is, what is the point of the Mundo in team fights? He actually has no one to run at. Everyone on the side of SKT ignores him and dives further.
And wants to be ran at.
Yes.
Definitely.
Gotta say, this Mundo pick is a bit of a stinker.
Yep. Well, FLICKR's going to be able to get an easy blue buff. SKT with all of the control of the map. Often, it largely stems from up here. Even more items being picked up here from Tal. Wants his Phage to head towards that Trinity Force, the first proper item.
Wait and see if Khan can ever auto-attack a minion, because if he does, he's in apprehend range.
Yeah. It's just not a good time. FLICKR is looking to add insult to injury. Control ward is in that brush, though. He's going to find out based on the fact that his ward's useless. Yeah, Tal wasted some time putting down a control ward.
You need so many levels to get through this lane now. You need level 11. Big problem is that if you're closer to dying to the dunks, so...
Yeah. What's the answer? I just don't even know.
Stopwatch doesn't really work because you don't actually cancel the ultimate. You can use it again freely as the Darius.
Feels like 600 gold that he didn't want to spend either. Thankfully, he got that one for free.
It is a stopwatch meta in Korea. We've had a FLICKR yesterday take full stopwatch team, so definitely seeing 5 to 7 pretty commonly, with the 8-minute reign-in from the old 10-minute timer.
Well, yeah, Khan is just going to be throwing these briefcases over and over again.
He's in the good old 3 out of a minion wave is pretty good situation.
I'm glad he's on the phone. Hopefully he's talking to his mom, you know, saying, I'm just having a really bad day today. I really wish that something would change.
Khan's English has improved since the last time I spoke to him.
I translated. Yeah. Just for everyone playing at home.
Well, BDD would really like this game to go a long time because around him, lots of bad things have happened.
Well, I mean, Froggen was here in Korea, playing in Korean solo queue, so certainly would understand, because he was definitely very good at extending games.
Does Tal try to turret dive the Mundo is a question that we will have to consistently reevaluate.
Right now, he's just waiting for the minions to take down this turret.
Well, a pretty big number.
Yeah. Blank's going to turn up. He's going to find himself control ward, and now not a lot of opportunities here as Prey just wants to thin this wave as much as possible.
With this sort of pressure in the bot side, Gorilla can't even pack up and try to leave the Mundo. Probably will just lead to a double kill, so maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that just sounds like adding to dinner. It's not so good. Cuz is going to be able to take the Rift Scuttler. See whether the Herald is actually an option here. It could be pretty greedy, given the fact that they're definitely losing on this side of the map, and the Anivia was back in base, but with no vision. Looks like the trade will be Shelly for a Dragon.
Vision's the important word. They did see Blank earlier around the bot side, so they know that SKT is trying to set up the dive. So Prey and Gorilla, who are reunited after one game off, will try and make a play together. Baker's checking the Rift Herald.
Hopefully Cuz will be able to take that one down.
Will he die for it?
Oh,
Nope.
doesn't collect it, and thankfully the taunt runs out as he gets over. Dragon is going to go, but now Tal's gatekeeping.
You do not walk past this man. This man definitely defends a Rift Herald.
Oh
Okay.
my god, they're going to jump in. Hero's entrance will come down on Detal though, and they have to kill him if they want this fight. The Devour is there, but is the Darius going to die in his belly? It's a good two-man taunt from Faker, but now finds himself in amongst 4, and he is going to go down. BDD grabs that kill. Tal somehow survives off the back end, but no way he can get back into this fight. And I don't know how they did it, but KING-ZONE make it back in, and now it's the Thunderdome with the wall being set up. Blank comes down, does have the stopwatch.
Bang!
Oh, in comes Bang right into the backline with the Swain. KING-ZONE look like they will be able to make it out though, as Khan's got some well-aimed briefcases to keep them all alive.
Didn't they could disengage that easy, and the disengage still going on.
Oh my god,
here.
yeah, the teleport's gonna come in from Talus. Cuz just wipes out effort. Faker comes in as well. He used his teleport. Where's the Yakety Sax Popper?
No one from KING-ZONE died!
I don't understand.
All right, you hold on to your voice there, Atlas. You're already getting a bit hoarse. Sorry, Hecarim. But in this particular series, that was a big play for KING-ZONE to try to salvage. Remember, they were staring down no Rift Herald, a bot lane that was basically free low for the Darius. Games have been remade for less than that, but in this particular one, they go in aggressively, they pack up with the Shen, Swain teleports out, Ezreal stays, and through all of this, no one from KING-ZONE dies, and you see the value of the wall and it's the full committal comp from SKT. Every time it comes down, it feels like an ultimate.
It does. And it would have been such a different story if BDD had any mana to speak of at all this fight.
The briefcases also made Bang a bit comical because in the previous game, the Herald of Death was Swain ultimate, here just expertly kited. But I imagine Bang has many less games into Swain than Faker does.
Yep, it's the wandered out of strategy.
But for them to get 2 kills and for Ezreal to just chill bot lane the entire time, very good news, but the invades will continue.
The
Still
good
a
news
slender
may
gold
be
lead.
stopping as BDD, he really wants some mana. He's not going to get it. Back is going to come in from Cuz. Confirmation that he did manage to pick up that Rift Herald.
It is insane that KING-ZONE have found gold parity in a game that seemed done.
Yeah, it was. I was pretty much setting myself up for Game 3, Papa. I definitely was, because Khan was having a real rough time.
It's like a world record Darius being fed situation.
Yeah.
He was so insanely powerful. Still is.
Uh-huh.
Wasn't able to make much happen. They lost summoners. Oh, Faker's Justice Punch was, rudely interrupted.
Not a lot of justice there. It doesn't get the stun, so not a lot of damage coming in, but Faker, of course, not going to take too much. His Catalyst is pretty useful.
I don't know about this one, Cuz. I don't know about this one.
All right. Well, Khan does.
They have Shen ultimate.
Yep. Are they actually going to invest it? Good hook shot. The Apprehend's going to get 2. Ultimatum coming in there, and KING-ZONE, they're going to have 3 top lane and some possibilities on the turret with the Rift Herald.
They actually were able to juggle that pretty well. Not enough in an item lead onto the Darius to make it happen. The Rift Herald might end the laning phase. Khan says, thank you very much. 13 minutes too late, but I'm going to get out of this lane. Begin getting out of lane. Prey is forced away from the turret, but the tempo trade definitely goes the way of KING-ZONE.
Yeah. And that is a lot of money now in their hands as well. As you're exactly right, first Turret Blood going down to KING-ZONE in this trade of turrets.
Shelly's going to get a lot of work done.
Oh, just going to boop this one as well. Massive minion wave as FLICKR doesn't have a heck of a lot of AP. Just very, very early in its lifespan, Rod of Ages.
Somehow, KING-ZONE has a gold lead after just the most one-sided early game.
This is literally one of the weirdest series I have ever been a part of, but I am so glad I have. You know, it's one of those sort of stories.
Excuse me, we're in Korea with the 2 teams that have representatives from every single LCK title from 2015 spring.
The
of
most
course,
serious game of League of
we
Legends,
have
obviously.
the biggest fiesta possible.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
How many legends does it take to be on the Rift to get kill-a-minute action? Apparently, it's 10.
Apparently, yeah. As many as possible. In fact, the highest possible number. Oh, God. Okay, well, Bang's going to be able to clear up this minion wave, so this bottom outer turret isn't going to go down. KING-ZONE bottom lane are busy taking a gromp, as you can see. Still, Prey wants to build towards his Trinity Force.
Thanks on awards, so that means that they are able to push up in other lanes and areas around the map. Galio Hero's entrance, not been as powerful as Galio's just straight up TP roam earlier.
Yeah.
Mundo somehow within 1,000 gold, which, given the situation, is pretty good.
Pretty good? What do you mean? It's amazing. It's completely unheard of.
The charmed life of Dr. Mundo.
Yeah, the charmed life of Khan, man. Oh, man, that was the worst possible start ever. And then he repeats his shenanigans with the survival somehow on 0 health from game 1 to find relevance in this game where he should have been basically a cannon minion at best. Blank is going to walk past, understanding now that there wasn't really anything there, but it was a gorilla that just barely escaped.
Where to now for this series? Here's what I'll say about SKT's comp. They still have very big power right now. They can still wombo super hard. Galio in the mid game we know all about. The problem for them is if there's ever a juncture in the game where all the flashes are used, the wall just wins the game straight out. As Khan's actually running at Tal.
Well, he may have started a little bit too early here, but Tal's actually not. He's probably taken too much damage. Oh, that taunt was absolutely amazing onto Bang, but Tal does go down into his stopwatch. Khan is going to be able to grab that kill, and Gorilla doesn't care about the passive at this point. KING-ZONE have won themselves yet another battle, and Cuz still wants more. Effort not going to find the tongue lash as Gorilla gets never moved out of his taunt. Picks up his sword and he's going to be okay. BDD says, Blank, get the hell out of my lane. It's a lot of damage to come in, but the ultimate's going to help him.
Tal was too tunneled on the 1v1. Used his flash really for no benefit at all. He was never getting away from the top lane party that KING-ZONE had invited him to. The wall with the flashes down is going to be just disgusting, Atlas, as the game goes on. Total damage dealt. It's led by Mundo. Can we just nerf Mundo? Like, what's this all about then? How does he have the most damage dealt?
I don't know.
In case you guys are wondering, it's because Briefcase doesn't scale on anything and does actually always pretty decent base and relevant damage. So it's because he's just accidentally hit the Darius with... You know what honestly happened? Darius would try to zone last hits by standing in front of the Briefcases. That's why.
Yeah.
It's actually the least relevant total damage dealt.
However, still hilarious that we had the Mundo that was 9 to 32 and 3 kills Darius.
But think of the total damage he dealt out.
Look at all of his total damage. He's so relevant. This is him on the graph at the end of the game saying, guys, I totally didn't almost lose you the game at 2 minutes in.
Well, I won't be on the MVP interview. I think this one he's not going to pick up.
Hey, it depends. If they still manage to win after that, I'd give him an MVP.
Oh, take a bit of a breath. We've had thrill a minute, laugh a minute League of Legends in this particular series. Rod of Ages ticking up on many people. No Rod of Ages for BDD. A lot of people skipping this item on Rise, and now we're seeing it skipped on the Anivia as well. To be fair, should be outranging the enemy team, so maybe you don't need help. Well,
Cloud Drake will be going down. Some information gained with that wall coming in there, but SKT going to have full control of the bottom side. River, that is because a lot of members were top side. Gorilla and Prey were just shoving that one through. Trinity Force pretty much about to be picked up, waiting in the shop here for Prey.
Really interesting to see where BDD's build goes. I guess you need Morellonomicon because it's swaying on the other side.
Yeah.
Ludens would do, not Ludens, Liandry's would do a lot of damage.
I feel like Liandry's is the optimal pickup if you just want to do as much damage as possible. Try and catch up to Khan.
I think maybe both could be considered.
Yeah.
Oblivion Orb, Haunting Guys, all of the things.
Yep.
Wait and see.
But
2 items on Prey. Know all about those 2 items. Not going to explain them again.
Yep. Did actually just pick them up though, so it's relevant to talk about the Power Spike with the Trinity Force and the Manamune, soon to be Muramana.
Cars walk up. He's going to get caught here.
Yep, and he's not going to be able to get out, I don't think, as the ultimatum does come in. Maybe I tell a lie. There's the stopwatch. True Shot Barrage comes in. Cuz still alive somehow, but the flash from Faker is going to seal his death. And a second. That was just biting off more than he could chew. I was about to sing the praises of Cuz, and then he throws himself at SKT.
Big positioning error from BDD. He's down for 29 seconds. SKT wishing the game was 20 seconds later. They might start the Baron anyway. They're already in position for it. BD has teleport. Cuz would not. No smite. They're going to go for the Baron.
Yep, there's not a heck of a lot of damage here. A bit of zoning being done from KING-ZONE as well.
They should know that SKT are most likely looking for the turn. Speaking of turns, Tal on the backside.
Yep, Khan's in here as well, as they do get the pullback onto Gorilla. Taunts his way out as well, as they do try and turn in on this one. Devour's not necessary as the Winds of War pick up the kill, but now can the chase actually come in? The pullback onto Prey, but he's getting a lot of shots across. Teleport from BDD as he's home guarding his way in.
Where's
Can the wall actually grab them? The kill, Justice Punch denied as Prey picks up the kill. And now Blank trying to run away from the briefcases and will be able to. Speaking of denial, no Baron available for SKT,
okay.
But is it there for KING-ZONE? Was it all a cunning ruse?
No, but it might be turned into an advantage for KING-ZONE. They've got a lot more Baron damage. Here comes Xin Zhao.
And a lot more tank as well, as Khan can just set himself up. Yeah, a poor man's Weaver's Wall comes in as BDD sets that one up. Baron over to KING-ZONE. They look like geniuses after they just looked like idiots.
I think you just summarized the series, especially this game.
Oh, it's my favorite.
This game is Atlas in a nutshell, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, God. Well, they are just going to empowered recall themselves back to base. Trinity Force completed for the Camille. She's absolutely huge.
And if I'd like to point one thing out, Inivia Wall actually lasts the same amount of time as the Weaver's Wall after the nerf.
Yeah. 5
Sick
seconds.
ultimate. It's not, you said budget. It's full price, baby.
Oh, it is now.
He just gets a discount and gets it on a W.
You just didn't know that Talia's Weaver's Wall is also a budget Weaver's Wall now.
That's true. Aatrox and Talia, so sad, depressed about their former selves.
Yeah, very, very depressing. However, I'm not depressed about this video game. I feel like Prey is just, he's sitting in amongst all of this craziness going, well, I'll just farm and I'll just get myself to 3 items and then I'm going to try and win the game. Much like game number 1 on his Xayah.
Weavers, the Inivia Wall is just going to be the most disgusting in this game.
Well, Faker having to deal with Cuz with a newly formed Trinity Force, but he's going to get taunted. There's the ultimatum. Heroic Entrance is interrupted, and he picks up the kill. Cuz is a god. He had the help of Gorilla, of course, with the Stands United, but Faker was just straight up baited. Now the rest of KING-ZONE turn up, and SKT are without their mid laner.
Cuz plays this Camille so recklessly. Just keeps diving in.
He's made to look like a genius
That's
somehow,
what happens
though.
when you have a Shen. Nocturne Shen, Camille Shen. The duo there is where the power comes from, because you can make boneheaded plays, and they're actually genius.
Oh my god. Well, can it even be a boneheaded play if you manage to get the perfect result from it?
It turns out if you win, it was calculated, and if you lose, it's hilarious.
Yeah. And really dumb. And why did they do this? Oh, they're so stupid. Otherwise, this is the most incredible League of Legends outplay I've ever seen in my entire
Peanuts
life.
looking at Cuz and being like, I could have Rambo'd like this.
Yes, it definitely is. Well, Faker now stuck underneath this turret. Another wall set up. He's just too big to get past it.
Can SKT get value from Darius this game? Because he still has a hell of a lot of items. Not as many as he should, but still plenty. He's got most of the gold. The wall is not going to actually completely stop FLICKR.
Well, he's just going to stand there and taunt, but they are going to be able to get it.
It was WMAX second, which has gone through different metas, but obviously in this game you want the most and biggest walls possible.
This tower not going to go down. The top inner still remains as well. Not exactly the greatest of siege compositions from KING-ZONE, but when it's against entirely melee, I have a feeling that it feels like a god composition for sieging.
We have had the most melee champions ever today.
Yeah.
Range has been at a premium almost every game. Had 10 melees in one game, maybe the first time ever in pro play. Our first series, KING-ZONE push up, about 15 seconds of Baron left.
Yep, and not a lot of options. As you can see, SKT just scrambling for any ability to defend these turrets. Looking for an engage opportunity with that group up, but KING-ZONE not biting off too much. And we've got 5 seconds until this Mountain Drake comes in, and KING-ZONE will be able to take that one for themselves. At the moment, it's looking like a 2-0, but it's also been the silliest series of our lives. So I honestly don't know what could happen. SKT still have that let's run at everyone and see whether we can kill them style composition. However, they're against an Anivia, and if BDD is there, it's going to be real tough.
It's in a 5,000 gold Baron buff power play earlier. This is a 9,000 plus gold. Again, if you're joining us late, that is just how much gold was claimed, not how much more than what SKT was able to claim. Not a power play. We should probably ask for power plays, they'd be cooler.
Yeah.
But no power plays in the LCK, just plays, I guess.
And I guess if you put it into context, you know, one of the biggest ones we saw was around 10K, so this is a good one.
Oh yeah. Bigger is better.
Yep.
In most metrics.
However, what is big, I guess, is the question to ask. When it was 5,000, this one was 10,000, this one's a good one. So there you go. Frey clearing out this minion wave pretty happily. He's got his Blade of the Ruined King on the go. Probably wants to complete those boots eventually. He's got the free-ass ones, but wants to get some more.
Merc Treads, I guess. So much magic damage. We could understand Tabbies as well.
Yeah, I feel like Merc Tread's a genius this scenario, given the fact that if he gets pulled back by the Swain or taunted by the Galio, things are really bad. However, I guess if he's in that position, he's probably dead.
Problem for SKT is they've never been able to have someone other than FLICKR draw aggro. The Darius in the early game, but that's a while ago now. The game has just happened around Bang. Secret Agent 004. He's on the Swain who can take over teamfights, but he either gets walled away or it happens on the other side of the map. There's been no flanking opportunities because everyone's just Rambo ganking with ultimates and globals. So the Swain is free farmed and doing just fine. While for mostly a middle of the teamfight build, sadly has never found the middle of a teamfight.
Yeah, and I think that the way they win a fight is by everyone flashing the, you know, low cooldown wall from an Anivia.
But the problem is then everyone from KING-ZONE flashes away, and then there's still the same problem.
Oh yeah, I never said it was a good thing. It's just that that's what feels like the reality is. I just feel like wall is the most busted ability, like you've been talking about.
When Swain, Galio, and friends rock up, yes.
Yeah.
SKT have literally the comp counted by Anivia. And it was a first round Anivia, so there could have been adjustments, but we didn't see them.
Where was the Lux? You know? She don't care about no wall.
We know where the Donger was on the bench, sadly.
Bench the Donger, that's the problem.
Now, all these comp things shouldn't have mattered because there was a 4-0 Darius.
Yeah. Let's take a minute to discuss how this game began, I guess.
Let's talk about a different game where the Darius kept winning and then Galio altered him when he got 1v3'd and he got a triple kill because he was so far ahead.
Well, literally should have been that game. That is what was foretold in the first 3 minutes. We saw it all laid out. However, didn't matter. Cuz went for the ultra Rambo play, and it paid off. Hookshot gets him out of the way as Baron is up in 20 seconds, and SKT have brute forced themselves some vision around the area.
Just an AP build from BDD, not going to be going for something like the Yandries with Merlinomicon into soon-to-be a Death Cap. Again, DPM going to be very high for this Anivia.
It's a hell of a lot of AP as well, with Seraphs and Rabadons being such a great combo for just getting flat numbers. Has that Merlinomicon there as well, which has a fair bit in its own right. We've got the fully stacked Rod of Ages coming in from SKT's AP carries as well. So Bang and FLICKR will be doing some work as they have about the same amount of gold, but it's less than that of their counterparts on KING-ZONE.
Darius has 100 more gold than Mundo.
That might turn around, I think.
To say the plans were dashed from the early levels is putting it nicely.
Yeah, Tal's feeling like everything went wrong and he's wondering what it was. I just feel like, you know, this 8-game win streak for Shen. Now LCK players really figured out that Shen is pretty damn strong because he started off with a pretty horrific win rate because that laning phase wasn't looking so good. But now it doesn't really matter about the laning phase. Got through it with Prey.
Ezreal and Morgana, definitely best friends of the Shen support for the I'll just be safe over here, you go do your thing.
Yep.
There's the Sweet Hat coming through. We're sitting on 534 AP at 29 minutes. And the Magic Resist purchases are minimal.
Well, Sorcerer Shoe's going to be doing a bunch of work alongside that Morellonomicon. VOD are going to make a very, very confused blue buff that was standing on his spawn location but still reset.
Game has slowed down a little bit. Had to at some point. Kill him in at pace. It's been slowed down. SKT controlling the Rift Scuttle. Means the Baron control means a lot less for the side of KING-ZONE.
Gorilla going to book it out of that Baron pit as Cuz being down here, he's looking for Tal to try and get themselves the Baron play.
So why is this play working? Why are we seeing so many plays where the smite goes bot lane and follows the top laner? Atlas is because they don't have any Baron damage at all. That's why they can do this, is that SKT, if you have a marksman or a high damage mid laner like a Cassio, what do, right? You just take the Baron, it's free, the smite's nowhere near. But in this sort of a game, when you see Galio Swain, you're just like, well, actually, we can make piggyback plays all the time, bring a third person down, why not bring Shen along and get free kills? And that's the cost of the comp from SKT. No Baron damage, so no threat from the side of SKT for that objective.
And they can just keep the waves being shoved in as well, so getting all of that extra information at the same time.
Whoa,
BDD just eats through them as, okay, Gathering Storm being picked up from Cuz, who played like the most reckless player in the history of the world, but I'm playing for late game, guys.
Cha-ching, baby. Cha-ching, ready to go.
As he is extraordinarily committed to this, as I say it. He starts backing. Tal's playing so respectful.
They have an insanely slow Baron, and then they get walled, and it screws their Baron. So they're just like, well, Camille can do whatever he wants. So Camille will finally give up, realize that Tal was not interested in giving away a third death.
BDD and Freya on the same page. It's going to be a rough time as FLICKR throws out the taunt to Justice Punch. Now everything on cooldown. They are going to start this fight. Feels like the kind of fight SKT want. As Cuz right off to the side. Good wall comes in, but now they're just trying to take down the Mondo. Brilliant Never Move comes in onto BDD, and he's not getting any damage in here. Blank gets himself out alive as the Darius is going ballistic. It's a double kill already. Make that a triple as BDD has nowhere to run. Good stun comes in as Prey cleans him up, and now can he get the rest of them without the Darius? They just don't have a lot unless they pick off the Ezreal.
The double turnaround.
Now the egg's there, and FLICKR, he's not scared of no egg. That's a double for the king of the mid lane, and somehow SKT come out on top.
Execution on both sides was a little bit hasty, but in the end, KING-ZONE opted into the sort of team fight they denied from SKT for so long. Gets so much gold on the enemy side. Khan Rambo's in. They know the W is down from FLICKR for a long time, but they clump too much. Remember, BDD has almost no health to speak of. So he tries to get value, gets Swain passive to join in the middle of the fight. So ends up really not being able to contribute. The Darius gets the team fight he was ready for about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Walks up the triple dunk. They see that Prey is full health and he has a lot of cleanup to do. Not able to clean up though, he gets caught by the Swain.
Yeah, and the flash from FLICKR as well to deny that one just meant that he was straight up dead. Oh, so close on both sides.
Let's talk about the collateral, which is the summoner's use. Remember that if KING-ZONE can get in position to 5v5, the wall is now basically dead.
Well, Effort has to get the Devour off, finds it onto Gorilla, very aggressively used as he can dash his way out once it's off cooldown, but it's not going to be off for a very long. Okay, gets himself the shield, he will be all right. Okay, Cuz, he escapes as well, but now it has to be Stand, oh, the Stand United is now on cooldown. So Gorilla can't make his way back in very easily.
That was only going to be the big takeaway, is the fact that he would not be able to get there. For Anivia not to do the most damage in an extended team fight lets you know it was a positioning mistake from the side of BDD and KING-ZONE.
Well, I mean, his Glacial Storm was just never down as well, if you look back at the fight.
They know Shen can't be there. That's why you see SKT just putting down a couple of hits and seeing what shakes down from the tree and able to walk back. So won't end up being as costly.
All of a sudden, this game has gone from already very interesting to even more interesting as KING-ZONE fumble that last fight. As the dust settles, 5,000 gold is the lead. Still 3 towers in advantage of KING-ZONE, and Khan is going to be able to cleaver down or briefcase down this Ocean Drake to even out the Drakes.
He went very much into safety by finishing the Merc Scimitar. Last Whisper would definitely not go amiss this game. A lot of armor on the side of SKT. They're trying to ignore the Anivia.
Effort has to get himself out of the way, but I don't know whether he's skinny enough. He eats himself the grey health and is going to survive. Okay, KING-ZONE now with control of this Baron pit. True shot barrage.
It could still... Okay, never mind.
Yeah, no, not happening. It's not even aimed at the fountain.
It's not onto the Baron. They have a very quick Baron here.
Yeah,
Jinjiao's
despicable damage. Remember, they've also got the wall to set up, and this is just theirs. There's decent vision around, but Blank says, okay. Isn't going to be able to get it, as FLICKR at least steals the red.
Oh, no, didn't get it. Never mind. It looked like he got it.
This is ultimate running.
All right, FLICKR, got a red buff. That's something.
Congrats. That's not a Baron, though, and that one feels a lot better for KING-ZONE. Baron number 2 now utilized, and we'll see whether they can get the last few inner turrets and create a gold lead that isn't going to be able to be overcome.
Okay, deep breath. Where's the game at? We can talk about team comps. Again, if SKT can find a way to get on top of Anivia, to stop her from being free hitting, I think that's even higher priority than taking down Ezreal. That sounds like criminal, but it's easier to get to Anivia. Doesn't have the eminent mobility that the Arcane Ship provides, or the Mercurial Scimitar, so getting to Anivia should be priority number 1. If there's never a Glacial Storm, I think SKT can win team fights. It looked set up to be on the side of KING-ZONE. There's still no Last Whisper. That's going to be the next item, the Merc Scimitar. The Grievous Wounds, Armor Penetration, Mortal Reminder, Merc Scimitar on the mine will be the final item from Prey. That's maybe what's necessary on the side of KING-ZONE. KING-ZONE hitting multiple lanes. Gorilla can split push on the Shen just with the Baron buff.
Well, talking about items as well, I mean, a lot of the money for SKT is stacked on top of Tal, but Adaptive Helm is brilliant in this game.
Gorilla split push.
Oh, classic split push. Oh, that's not the top laner, never mind. Inhibitor does go down, so base is broken, but Rabadon's death caps are so close for both FLICKR and Bang.
And then just one squish on the Anivia, she dies instantly, and maybe SKT win that team fight. So far, VD been up and down as they're looking for Gorilla.
Yep, trying to grab the top support player.
And meanwhile, it's definitely being enacted.
Yeah, and he's got his Stand United available, and they have to use all the global options that they have on the side of SKT. It's the Abyssal Voyage here from Effort. Get them towards the bottom side. He's going to heat up this Baron-empowered Siege minion. And BDD just puts down a Glacial Storm. SKT cannot traverse it at all. So
many headaches. Mundo on the top side, still with the Baron buff for a minute. Shen can bring up the minions in the mid lane. The least conventional 1-3-1 ever, as the support and top laner are pushing.
Yep. And BDD having all of the zone control available. Bang having, feels like a field day.
Again, because they botched a team fight and flashes her up, there's a chance. This game should definitely be over, based on our expectation. And yet SKT could still buff one, but as they trade flashes.
Yep, that is going to be Cuz jumping in there. Heroic Entrance is down. They're trying to keep Tal alive. He survives for a long time, but that flash was questionable at best. And now the sadism's there for Khan. He ain't dying anytime soon. BDD keeps himself alive in the fight, and I feel like this is KING-ZONE really laying the hammer down on top of SKT. Cuz even able to go into his stopwatch as they're relegated to their fountain. Blank and FLICKR now just waiting for the inevitable as the 2-0 for KING-ZONE. The bounce back after the loss against Griffin is completed. It's another bloodbath, an incredibly fun series, but domination from KING-ZONE in the end.
Must mean so much to Khan to say can't touch this as the Mundo after being free food for the majority of this game. He got hella carried because the rest of his team made some very smart plays. I thought Cuz and Gorilla linked super well in both the games of this series, really knowing the limits of Camille, and Camille's been so feast and famine. Feast or famine in other series. This time the Camille was feasting, and by the end, when they staved off a couple of jitters after a teamfight misexecution by KING-ZONE, they closed what has been a weird and wonderful series 2-0.
Yeah, and Cuz just relying on his older brother, like you say, a little bit recklessly, but understanding that they can actually get those kills. And If it didn't pay off when they were trying to take down the Darius top lane, yes, they would have lost. However, it was looking like, yes, they would have lost anyway. So you may as well go for it. Go for the Hail Mary, and look, it landed, and it knocked out SKT.
One of those games where Tal will look at his own performance and also the team around Tal being so powerful, which hasn't been a reliable strategy. It hasn't happened very often. The Tal has been the fed one. They didn't really know how to transfer that into more. He was so strong, and you feel like if Khan was 4-0, it would have been a pretty straightforward close for KING-ZONE. Tal gets the gold. The team and he don't navigate it into what seemed like an unassailable Darius hits a side lane. What about Galio joining him situation instead? It was the Camille Shen that was the actual duo of note in this particular series. And in the end, most damage dealt is not the Anivia, who ended up not being expertly piloted outside of the walls by BDD. Still a value pick. Still the walls were very strong, but the Ezreal poke came up supreme.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that the Mundo still managed to do a lot of damage to champions. I'm looking at Cuz though. 16,000 for a jungler is pretty impressive, doubling or more that of Blank, keeping up with the Swain in the hands of Bang. So Cuz had a fantastic game. On the Camille, of course, able to play a little bit more aggressively based on having that Shen in his back pocket, but still, you have to be able to make the plays to get it done. And to go back to your Tal point as well, I mean, I think this is part of the problems with SKT at the moment. It's not a Huni in the top lane. It's not a Marin in the top lane, you know? It's not one of these...
Duke even.
Yeah, Duke even. Man, you can go really far back, and there have just been so many aggressive, incredible players on the top side of the map for SKT, augmenting that of Bang and FLICKR. This time around doesn't feel like it, but Cuz, this guy was a weapon this game. 4, 3, and 6, but man, saving it with his early game plays.
And while both games were certainly a bit of yakety sacks, I think you could see that Cuz in the lineup and Peanut in the lineup gave very different results over the course of just 2 match days, 2 days apart. Cuz was very far up in many fights, Triumph Brox, his relentless aggression. Where he went, good things happened, and compared to Peanut, where he went, bad things happened a couple of days ago. So at the end of the day, all you can say is that Cuz really performed in the second game and in the series overall.
Yep. Just straight up saving Khan from imminent doom over and over again. This play from Gorilla was beautiful to try and get on top of Khan. However, there was a stopwatch that made him look a little bit silly in the end. But it was just another one of those games. This series has just been a lot of ridiculousness. FLICKR then face planting was one of the funny times, but so back and forth. There wasn't a moment where you felt it was guaranteed that it was going to go one way or the other, apart from the early game, I guess, and went the other direction.
I thought this was guaranteed to go bad.
Yeah.
Because when he just ran at a farmed Galio, apparently I misjudged Camille. When she gets a good start, Cuz got a good start. He's able to get the ultimates off. Down SK Telecom T1. And now basically every fan base in the LCK looks at the first 2 weeks and a half and says, I think we're doing all right.
Yeah, the first round robin really hasn't given us very much information yet at all. And there's only a couple more games for each team.
And we're over a third of the way through the season.
And who's the best jungler for KING-ZONE DragonX? That's another question that maybe we'll have asked here in this MVP interview.
Get it on that raid call.
Yeah, well, we'll hop on the raid call. And we're going to have a chat with Joel, so take us through some of the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your interview translation for the day, and we're here at KING-ZONE, picking up the very nice win against SK Telecom. We're going to talk to our MVPs of that game. We'll talk with Gorilla and Cuz. Basically a packed stadium that we have today for 2 top premier teams that we've been looking at, but Gorilla, what you want to say? It's been a long time since I've done an interview at Sangam, but it feels great to get the win, and glad to see you guys here cheering for us as well. Of course, it's the set 2 MVP with Cuz. I'm sure he feels really nervous having not even played for such a long time. KING-ZONE's jungler Cuz. Super nervous, as you can see. As you probably know, we knew that the Gorilla wanted to support Cuz in this interview, saying be more comfortable and relax just a little bit. I mean, it's your 5th year anniversary, Gorilla. Just looking back, any games that are memorable that stood out for you? I've never really used Blitzcrank many times in the pro tournaments, but and it wasn't even practice for today, so that was kind of the thing that we didn't want. But I suggested to pray that that I want to pray Gorilla, and he decided on that. And we just decided to go with it. And even the coaches really supporting me on that phase as well. But especially with Mad Life, just remembering him, it really was something that allowed me to kind of remember in the tracks of what I had to deal with back in the day as well. I just didn't play Blitzcrank for many days, but now I'm playing today. Really, just you just knew what to give the answer to in terms of questions, but we can give answers in words, but we can get answers like this in plays. Hooks after hooks, and look at that. Did you feel like your hands were ready to go for today? I definitely felt the grab coming on, and was that intentional? Well, let's say it was intentional. And of course, when you do put that hook over that way, it's easy to get the minion instead. I was actually trying to say the Sejuani was actually gonna get grabbed, but the Tom Kench ate it up, so grab the 1+1 there, so the field goes on that one. And of course, did you guys feel like you trusted that Blitzcrank pick? We were actually trying to go for the Rakan first, but I knew that he was having a good feel for today's game, so we got him on the Blitzcrank on today's. And we actually were surprised by how good Cuz was on the Rakan, being a typical jungler that he is. Did Gorilla give you any tips on Rakan? Whenever I do bad, he always gives me tips on how to do better. But I feel like any champion that I can play for a little bit long. I don't need to play for a many long time, and I'll still be good at it. And we'll also look at how Cuz did in Game 1 as well. Well, this is in Game 2 actually, but with Cuz playing the Camille, we just saw basically Cuz telling us that he doesn't need to play a champion for very long for him to be very good at it. Showed once again with the Camille that the mastery of that champion was right there with him. What did you feel like you were gonna able to survive on this one? I mean, as soon as I went with against the Faker, I knew I was gonna win out that one. Did you feel like you wanted to go in on by yourself, or your teammates were supporting your decisions? I mean, sometimes Gorilla tells us that whether to go in or not, but we sometimes make our decisions ourselves. So at Game 2, we thought that Khan actually had an expression that he had lost basically the world, and he's been having a tough time. And what do you think about that? Anytime I play with him, whenever I feel like he lost the world, I actually say that expression sometimes can be a good thing, because even despite that, he still pulls out good performances. So it still always keeps us calm for the fact that even though he seemingly lost, we can still have a chances to win out the game. And because of the mistakes that came through. But anyway, I just wanted to tell Khan that I was sorry, because I could have done better to protect him. So we're also looking at how Kaz trying to look at that situation and see what he could do with it. I was trying to ward the tri-bush, and I didn't expect the opponents to come in that direction, and I was actually we were actually just going to go for the dive, and that was the initial plan, but came in unexpectedly from the opponents. That could have been very effective for you guys, but talking about your 5th year since your debut, Gorilla, and with today's game, you marked your 399th game in your career. And of course, lots of career records right now. What do you feel like? Something to do with their fans, of course, always been keeping with you on track on your progress. I think the current meta just really feels like there's not really a support anymore almost, and at the point of adapting and adjusting to how to play this a little bit better. I'm trying to just create lots of interesting picks and And I feel like the games are sometimes just decided by picks, and we always have to talk about which champions are viable for the meta, and we are currently discussing that internally. Hopefully we can show more interesting games after that. Of course, great games that came through, but this was right around the Rift Herald actually, where we thought that your decisiveness was a bit aggressive in the way you just went in, flashed in like that. I mean, I just don't remember too much because the game had ended, but with the Camille, we can be very mobile with that champion, so you can kind of create these unexpected plays in terms of your opponents, and you knew that the Dragons was going to your opponents initially. Did you feel like you had to really go for that Rift Herald, knowing that the opponents were coming back for the cover? Was it something that was decided by you or Gorilla? I know Khan was basically, he was done with them with Dr. Mundo, but I knew that we sent Dr. Mundo as a bait, so we were able to get the Rift Herald a little bit easier. And I knew that Darius was going to be all alone, so we were trying to surround the champion and trying to kill it off. That was the plan. And we actually saw incredible damage being dealt by Camille, just kind of overdoing the Darius to a certain point. And did you feel like your Camille was a lot stronger today? It becomes really iffy if you get behind early, but if you try to be patient and try to get the advantages where you can, it just feels like everything that you can do with it, Camille can put out incredible amounts of damage, and you just have to be patient with that champion early in the game. And Gorilla's having a smile without anything you want to add to that. He really likes having the Infernal Drake there, so if there's an Infernal Drake, he will definitely go for that all the way. He was just trusting on his instincts that he can actually win out that one. Of course, aggressive plays coming from Cuz was what led to you guys' win at the end. And of course, important game for you guys because against really strong opponents, and you had to go up against being the defending champions that you are, because you wanted to prove something from the LCK fans. But anything you want to say to that? It's great to get a clean 2-0 win. We have another match on Saturday, and of course, Prey is also having his 400th game, and so it will be really interesting to see how that goes. And we'll be asking for lots of cheers from you guys. Of course, Cuz feels more nervous now. What do you want to say? I'm glad that I came out to play and actually won the games. And we'll try to make sure that that the support that you guys always give to us, we can reply back with a lot more victories. And of course, a lot of support means that the KING-ZONE team will be getting a lot better day in and day out. And that was a winning team with KING-ZONE with their interviews. And that's going to be the end of the translation for the interviews, and heading back to you guys for the rest of the broadcast.
Thank you very much, Joel. Great to hear from Gorilla on his 5th anniversary, and great to get them a 2-0 victory as well.
First time I've seen a banner in our stadium for a player for Gorilla, and that's a very important thing that was brought up by Gorilla at the end there. When they play Hanwha Life on Saturday, it'll be both 400 games for Prey and Gorilla. How fitting. They will be able to celebrate that together. The duo lane that shall never be separated anymore. KING-ZONE DragonX separating themselves from the pack a little bit. Hanwha could be joining them at 5-2. That could really be a very close match as they're facing the former Rocks Tigers. Does the irony never end for the 400th game for both players? SK Telecom T1, look, they're a strong 8th, that's for sure.
Yeah.
They were able to push KING-ZONE. May read 2-0 KING-ZONE DragonX, but SKT looked better than that.
Yes, they most certainly did, and you've got Jin Air and BBQ not on a victory just yet, so locking down those bottom 2 positions pretty considerably. But like you say, on Saturday it will be Hanwha Life taking on KING-ZONE. Friday over at the Gangnam Stadium will be a FLICKR Freaks versus MVP, an interesting one given a FLICKR Freaks rocky road recently. But this is our next matchup here at OGN.
You and I, Atlas, for KING-ZONE DragonX. Bit of a love-in for Prey and Gorilla as they take on the former Rocks Tigers. SK Telecom T1, last match before Rift Rivals. At least they'll be looking to go in with a victory facing the hapless BBQ.
Yeah, SK Telecom looking to do exactly the same thing against the hapless Yes, sorry. That's exactly what you
Yeah.
just said.
Just
I
repeat
thought-
what I say. That's good job, Valdez. Good job, Valdez. Achilles, you nailed it.
Oh, I love Reddit sometimes. Absolutely brilliant. But same can be said for KING-ZONE, wanting to have a good move forward. But guys, that's going to do it for us tonight. We'll see you at the Gangnam Stadium tomorrow for more LCK. For now,